No, you do move on, but it's a person. It is, it is someone I was close with, and I think you keep that in the back of your mind. But at the same time, we always had hope and always thought, on the bright side, and thought, we'll see him again, and I did. And again, looking back and with my kids and stuff, and I think it would have been hard for my parents as well as myself. And looking back now and seeing my kids, I'm thinking, wow, it must have been tough.
Mo Farah joins me now. First of all, Mo, are you afraid to be facing up to Usain Bolt?
You always have to be afraid. He's the fastest man in the world and still has a world record, both of it. And it's nice to be part of it.
But you can be fast, can't you? And not necessarily the best football player on earth, because you were fast and quite wanted to be a football player, didn't you, once upon a time?
Yes, I did. So growing up, all I wanted to do is play football and be a football player, but I didn't have any of the skills. And now we get to have, to show what we can do for good cause for UNICEF and making a difference for children out there, people who, rely on us in terms of UNICEF, the work they do, involved they are with, young children who be able to, give them food and give them, the vitamins and things that they do need that they can't get anywhere else. And it's nice to be part of it.
What age were you when you realised you didn't have footballing skills?
I was 16, 15, I think, at the time. I remember going away on a trip. It was a run in Disneyland, Florida. And at that time, I came back and go, yeah, I want to be an athlete. I don't think I'm good at football as I think I am. And that's when I sort of realised be better off running than playing football.
I mean, it is the age that most kids have to make decisions, don't they? Like they've got to drop a load of subjects before they can move on to A level and all of those things. So I suppose you do have to start sort of honing your expectations of life. But that's quite a blow to have had a big dream to be a footballer and then have to let it go at that age. How did it feel?
I think for all of us, growing up is what we see that we were trying to apply to it. And for me, as a youngster growing up, all I ever wanted to do is play football. And that was one thing that I honestly did enjoy myself and see myself. But sometimes, it's not what you're good at; it's what you want to do. And I think for me, realizing early on with help of my PE teacher who spotted me, took me to the local running club. If it wasn't for him, then I wouldn't be in the sport. And then realizing and then commitment and working hard towards what I have achieved.
Did sport present, a really clear and obvious opportunity for you as a kid? Was there ever any doubt that that would be the way you'd go? And did it feel like sport, in a way, transcended any other sort of hurdles? Because, in a way, sport's been much more diverse than a lot of other kind of, areas that you might have found to work in.
Yeah, no, for sure. If it wasn't for sports, then I wouldn't have, gone far in life. And for me, it's the trips that you go and run the world to visit different countries, to understand the culture, what it's about. And again, if it wasn't sports, I wouldn't even been open to any of that. And in life, I think I've seen a lot and learned a lot. And if it wasn't for sport bringing everyone together, then I wouldn't got as far as I have in my career.
I was reading this story and I didn't know it about you. I mean, not that I'm an expert on you. I'm not a stalker or anything, Mo. But I didn't know that you had a twin brother that you were separated from when your family moved from Djibouti to here. I mean, you were born in Somalia, but moved to Djibouti, and you had a twin brother who was left behind. I believe he was ill at the time and he was left with the family and basically was lost to you all for 12 years.
Yeah, 12 years, yeah.
Um,
Um,
I wanted to know, because of the fact that you clearly had such sort of sporting skill from an early age, and that was what proved your opportunity here. Did he have equal skill and just not the opportunity in Djibouti, or what was his experience?
yeah, I think both of us have said we're identical twins. Now we look a little different because of my sports background. For him, he's back in Somaliland out there with a lot of kids. But again, it's life. Again, as a kid growing up, I was given a chance, an opportunity to be able to do something, and that's what I did with grab with both hands and gone out there and commit and work hard. And again, it's that opportunity in life. I guess you've got to make most of it.
But you must have missed him a lot. I mean, you were, I think, 8 years old when you
Yeah.
moved here, which is old enough to be pretty close to your brother, or not, as the case may be. But I imagine that that would be really a visceral loss for a child. I'm not a twin, so I don't understand the bond, but people talk about it as being incredibly strong.
Yeah, for sure. And I think as a youngster at that age, for me, it was hard at times. But again, it's that situation of what it was, and at the same time, seeing. I always thought, I will see him again, and I did, and we're still close and still have a good bond. But it's just the understanding of life and what it was again at that age. I was so young, and for me, it was hard. But overall, I think I look back and go, it is what it is, and just make most of it.
I know that your dad went out to look for him and was unsuccessful in trying to find him because the family had moved on. And I was thinking actually about your mum, and if it was hard for you, it must have been incredibly hard for her. Did you talk about him when you were a child? Did you and your mum talk? Was he still present in the family, or was it something that you sort of moved on from as you've moved on from lots of things?
No, you do move on, but as a person, it is, is someone I was close with, and I think you keep that in the back of your mind. But at the same time, we always had hope and always thought, on a bright side, and thought, we'll see him again, and I did. And again, looking back and with my kids and stuff, and I think it would have been hard for my parents as well as myself, and looking back now and seeing my kids, I'm thinking, wow, it must have been tough.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it must have been tough on all of you. And to me, I don't know. I think the thing that was most sort of, I don't know, upsetting in a way was the idea that you then re-met, in 2003, and your lives had gone in such extraordinarily different ways.
Yeah, it's gone completely different ways. As I said, like him, he's married, he's got a job, he's got I think 10 or 11 kids, and it's me struggling with 4 kids here. But it's a life, isn't it? And again, it's you just got to make most of it, and not dwell on what's happened or what it could have been, because we all have this fantasy world where everything has gone perfect, but it didn't. And again, it's using that to motivate yourself, and to just continue to go out there and do what you can. And for me, if it wasn't sports, then who knows what I'll be doing. Again, it's sports bringing everyone together, and I think this is what UNICEF is about, bringing soccer aid on 12th of June, bringing everyone together and raising as much money as we can for children out there in the world who are struggling.
You say that if it wasn't for sports, you don't know what you would have done, and I wonder how important you think sports is as something to be available for children, particularly in this country where we've seen a huge diminishing in sports fields and facilities for sports, and a lack of investment really over the last couple of decades.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think we need sports. All kids need sports and need to be active and motivated. And I think there's a lot of around the world. There's a lot of distraction always, but I think being able to just given a time to play, let kid play, that's what it's all about. Because all kids want to do is go out there, go on the playground, go and play football, go join the athletics club. And I think we have to continue to keep working hard to give kids, opportunity and more playing time.
What about giving them resilience as well, though? Because one of the things that really strikes me about, what you've achieved is you never sort of go, oh yeah, it's a gift, you're always very honest about how hard you have to work for it, how hard you have to keep working for it, and that seems an incredibly important bit of messaging. And I wonder if children now get enough of that sort of messaging, that life will be hard, that there will be big hurdles. We've talked about an immense thing that happened in your childhood, and it's that determination to succeed, or to you know to surmount those hurdles, that is what makes us successful or not.
No, for sure. And I think there will be hurdles in our life all the time, as much as I have achieved. Even now, we're challenging my kids, but it's using that time and to go out there and to commit. I think younger kids as well, particularly if I can give back to motivate them, or in a role with them. I love to, because there's a lot of kids out there who has the potential, but not have the right support and the right, people around them. And I think I'm lucky enough in my career. I've always had good people around me, even from my PE teacher who spotted me, took me to local club, to my family now, and people around me. And I think I'm lucky enough that I've had always right people around me, and I think that's what keeps me grounded and keep me on my feet and keep going.
So I suppose in a way you consider yourself lucky because this PE teacher identified your talents and supported and encouraged you. Do you think that not enough of that sort of support and encouragement is available? That it would be, I mean, obviously I don't want to be kumbaya about it, but it would be wonderful if every child growing up in this country had the opportunity to be encouraged and in whatever endeavour that they wanted to embark on, but that sense of support that isn't always there.
Yeah, no, for sure. Even with my kids, I try and support them every way that I can, not just in sports, but in school and other things that are around them. And I think it's how it's what we do with kids that helps them in life and shapes them. And understanding that even more and more. And again, I'm just grateful for I've had a lot of good people around me in my life, early career and later on in life.
Mo, we talked a tiny bit about Soccer Aid. We'll talk a little bit more about it in a moment. But I have to ask you, because the most recent time that people may have seen you will have been on during the Jubilee Parade on Sunday, where you managed to get a place on the 2000s float. How was the experience? And did you have to choose between the 2000s and the 2010s? Because, of course, many will associate you with the 2012 Olympics.
Yeah, no, it was. I was lucky enough to be able to invite, and again, it was a massive celebration for all of us in the UK and all around the world, and to celebrate the 70th of the Queen. It was just nice to be part of it.
How did it compare for you to the Olympic ceremony? I have to say, I loved that opening Olympic ceremony. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. I thought it kind of
Oh,
nailed it in terms of pomp and ceremony, but also a real kind of sense of what built Britain in a way.
no, it was massive. 2012, particularly, to come as a nation together and to pull off what we did, not just from the athletes, but all the public and everyone behind us. And I think that memorable in 2012 will always stay with me, and that's what keeps me going and in life, because I look back and go, wow, that was incredible, and I guess that will never happen in entire life again.
It's interesting you say that because you don't strike me as a looker backer. You strike me more as a sort of looker forward. And
No, you do, but you see your kids and you're like, oh, they're 10 years old, almost 10 years old, and that's that memorable moment, I guess. And I look back, I'm like, oh my god, was that long ago?
is that hard at all? Because obviously, age is a age is a determining factor of sporting success. There's just no way around it. And you've been phenomenal to be so much at the top of your game for nearly 40 years. Um, how does it feel to sort of, I mean, I wonder if it goes back to that sense of letting football go when you were 16. How does it feel to be at this point now? Do you still feel that you've got another few medals in you? Or what do you feel about this transition to a new stage of life?
I think it's always challenging, because as an athlete, you always focus on your event and you work hard, and year by year, just it just keeps ticking off, and you never even think about it. And now you're thinking back and like, oh wow. But the one thing is I've always had is that drive and that motive, and I still got that, and I feel like I can still do a lot. But in reality, sometimes your body doesn't allow you, and that's been for me the frustrating part, particularly last year and the year before. Just my body is not quite what it was, and again, it's looking back, goes, oh, maybe you're getting on a bit.
And what does it make you feel? I mean, more mortal, I suppose, for a start.
I think it's just that drive I have. I always want to go out there and make so many people proud and make the nation proud, and just continue. But as an athlete, I think sometimes now it's just almost you have to take a step back and go, okay, is my body allowing me? And then put my body first rather than put me first. But again, it's just in me.
And you say it's just in you, I think it must be just in you, but you play that down and you say that, because you run, I think up to about 18 miles a day, is it? 10 to 12 in the morning, 5 to 6 in the afternoon. Is that still the case?
Yeah, that is still the case. I'll try and run 12 miles in the morning, 5 in the evening, 6, depends, and try and get over 100 miles. That's been my goal. And over the years, I've been knocking about 115 to 120 miles week in, week out. That's what my body's done.
I'm exhausted just thinking about it. Does your body sometimes say no nowadays?
It does. When you wake up in the morning, you're a little bit more sore, you've got aches and pains, but it's what makes me happy and makes me that's what I enjoy doing.
What do you think about when you're running for all those hours?
You're just in the zone and you focus and you're always thinking about, do this training, you do training, you finish the training and then you're like, okay, and the run. And each week it just comes. And then you race. And then when you race, then you know what kind of shape you're in. And then from there you go forward. But when you're running, you just thinking about all kind of stuff. What am I going to do? What's the kids going to have today? Am I picking them up from school?
What about a podcast or music or deep thoughts about the future of the universe? Or is it all, I mean, I know whenever I've tried running, first of all, I would like very much for you to describe to me what the zone feels like, because that seems to me a very elusive place to end up. And I'm still waiting to get there. But I also, like you, end up with just exactly all the minutiae of life going through my head and desperately wishing that I could have big thoughts.
No, we're all different. I think you've got to find what makes you happy. And I think for all of us, and it's that sports, it's that, that your own time where you find, just get to be by yourself, walk the dogs, or, you go for your friend a cup of tea or whatever you need to do. And I think for me, particularly myself, it's what makes me happy. And I do enjoy going out there. At times you might think, oh, I'm going for a 20-mile long run on a Sunday. But when you come back from that 20 mile, you're like, yeah, that's nice. You feel good about yourself.
What does the zone feel like?
It depends what zone you hit. Is it a race day? Is it training day? And at times it's tough. But again, if I'm ever in doubt or going through hard times, then I do listen to music and get you through it. Certain songs. And it's different zones.
What's your go-to running tune? What's the one guaranteed to kind of get your mojo back if you want to give up and go home?
Listen, UB40.
Really? Which one?
Yeah. That was Red.
Red wine, one of the things you probably can't drink very much of doing your job.
No, I wouldn't. I don't drink, but it's a nice song. It's one of my favourite songs, Lionel Richie. But then again, it depends. Race day, I'm listening to, Wretch, Dizzy Rascal, a bit of garage. Variety of guy. Depends what mood I'm in.
Yeah, my son likes to train to garage. I just don't get it. I don't get how the two...
Not that I can dance.
and tell me, I can dance to it. I just can't do gym to it. What about your kids then? Have any of them shown an aptitude for sport?
Yeah, no, all my kids are very different. My oldest is coming up 17 now. She did a bit of rowing. My twin girls, one of them loves athletics, wants to be a runner, and the other one loves dancing, gymnastics, a bit of swimming. And my son's playing a lot of football and a bit of running. But again, he's senior kids with talents, but they got the right attitude. I think that's what takes them far in life. And everything we do, if you have the right attitude and discipline, you can go far in life.
How do you instill the right attitude, though, or do you just have to be born with it?
No, I think you do have to be born to a certain degree. But again, being nice doesn't cost anything. So to me, it's principle. What we have to do, and again we try and nurse that and keep on going, and everything they do, have to work hard for it. Nothing ever get given to you. You do get a chance, but you do have to work hard and commit.
Do you feel lucky or that you've worked for everything that you've achieved?
Both. It's a bit of both. Obviously having luck and have that opportunity, but as well as working hard and committing and not taking anything for granted. That's what you have to do.
Tell me about Sunday. Are your kids coming to watch you, and do they rate your chances? Because I'm not sure against Usain Bolt.
Listen, daddy's like his daddy, right? It doesn't matter what he's achieved. How many medals you have, it's just your dad. And I think that's the way I can see it. All right, Dad. But they're very excited coming on Sunday. It's a great cause for what we're doing, bringing everyone together, raising as much money as we can for UNICEF and making a difference out there for kids out there in the world.
And I mean, when you look at the moment at the state of the world, I know you've done some campaigning for child poverty and so on. I mean, when you look at the state of the world at the moment, I mean, what do you think needs to be done? What animates and motivates you?
I think making it different for kids out there. I've got 4 kids, and seeing my kids how happy they are, what they have, that's what keeps me that's what keeps me going and keeps me happy. And again, if we can make a difference for kids out there, if it's £1, if it's £2, and raise as much money as can, if everyone's doing a bit, we can make a difference, I think, together. And I've always had that motive in life. One hand can't wash the face, with both hands we can wash our face. And it's the same again with the kids. We can make a difference. And it's just nice to be part of UNICEF and be part of Soccer Aid. And I'm lucky enough to have been part of it for 3 years now. But I'm looking forward to it, as well as, playing with Usain Bolt, Liam, Chunks. There's a lot of stars out there.
Does it matter to you who wins?
Yeah, it does. Of course. Come on, England. Football's coming home.
And do you have a sense? I mean, as I say, you're making it very clear that you feel it's important for kids to have a role model, for them to aspire, for them to be resilient. Is that an area that you think you might take your career into, while you're still running, but not necessarily competing quite so hard?
Yeah, no, for sure. I love to be involved with younger kids and showing them the way and what is possible in life if you work hard. And I think a lot of them, I think like myself, can make a difference, because a lot of people do see you and telling you like, oh, you achieved this, you're so and so, but you didn't get so and so. It took years, of struggling, falling down, getting back up, and continue to keep looking forward. And that's what we can teach kids, younger kids, and they can achieve a lot. I've always believed that.
I know that you're not just a football player, average football player, dare I say, but
I'm a runner.
You're a runner, exactly. But you're also a football fan. You support Arsenal.
I'm huge.
And am I right or wrong in thinking that you've expressed an interest in being a football coach or even a manager in the past? If you haven't, why not?
I would love to, but I don't know if I've got any skills. I might just kill the players to just tell them, go for a run, and get him more fit. But it's something I did look into it before. I'm a massive football fan. I'm a big Arsenal fan. And seeing football I do get starstruck. I'm like, uh-oh, that's so-and-so.
So if you were managing a football team, I mean, that football has turned into, I don't know if this is in my lifetime or you're younger than me, but it does feel like it's turned into much more of an industry than it used to be a sport that young kids would aspire to. And I mean, there was money in it, but it wasn't the sort of mega bucks that there is now and so on. Is it hard to stay romantic about football when it's such a big industry?
Not for me, love. I'm like, listen, I'm all the time, I'm tuning in. If I'm doing that long run, here we go, put the football on. I'm watching because that's what I love and what makes me happy. But again, we've seen a lot of teams out there. There's a lot of football, but again, there's a lot of talent. And for me, I was just gutted that Arsenal didn't make the Champions League. But hey ho, we'll be back next year.
You'll be back next year, and there's always Sunday in order to achieve the sort of result that you're looking for. What's your prediction for the score just before you go?
I think it's going to be high score. England got to win this year. We've got Harry as a manager. 3-1. And Usain Bolt ain't going to score this year, I'm telling you. Because I'm going to stop him.
That's sort of morale boosting and ego deflating for the opposite team at the same time. Okay, well, I'm sure that leaves Usain Bolt well warned. Mo Farah, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me.